Hey, this is Judah Ross with Bastrop Real Estate Group. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I'm calling it Buying a New Home, New Build Home in Tahitian Village. Be careful. And the reason I say that is because I've, at this point, represented many buyers who have bought new build homes in Tahitian Village in Bastrop, Texas. I've also worked and represented a number of these builders as the listing agent. And there are some really, really great builders out there. There are also some really, really bad ones. And there are a few things that you really want to watch out for when buying a new build home in Tahitian Village. So, to start out, I pulled a list from last year, from 2024, of all the new build homes that were listed for sale in the MLS. There were 67 homes total, and I believe out of that, there were about 40 or so that sold, maybe a little bit less, but combined, out of these 67 new homes that were built in Tahitian Village in 2024, there were 42 different builders. Many of the builders would build just one or two homes. There's a few of the bigger ones. Christopher David is probably the most builds the most homes there, but there were 42 different builders out there. Now, if you are buying a new build home in, say, the Colony or Adelton or anywhere else, you're dealing with production or tract builders. And these are statewide, oftentimes nationwide companies, ranging, and there's different qualities. You'll have starting, at the entry level, you've got your D.R. Hortons, your Lennars. For example, looking at some of the ones that we have here, mid-level, you're getting into your Terrata, you're getting into, you get a little bit higher, David Weekley. The higher end ones are going to be like Scott Felder, Perry, Weston are some of the ones that build out here, and they have known reputations. They all have their own issues. They all have really good things going for them. I think they all have great products for their price point, but you kind of know what you're gonna get. Now, when you're dealing with individual, and they all have pretty much, and some of them can be lax, but they have known standards that they follow. When you're dealing with one of these individual builders in Tahitian Village, it really can be a crapshoot. Again, some of them have been around for a while, have good reputations that they try to uphold, but many of these builders, and we're looking through the list, have never built in Tahitian before. Many of them are not from around here. Many of them have never even built a home before. I speak with a lot of them, probably spoken with most of them at this point. And Tahitian is a great place if you're looking to get into the home building business. It's a great place to start. You can go and buy a lot there for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. You can put a home on it for, say $200,000. Might cost you to build, a little less, a little more. And then you can go and sell it with a good agent like myself for maybe around $350,000. Now, right now, as anyone knows, if you look, there is quite a bit of inventory in Tahitian. There are some priced high, some priced low, but the homes there do sell. There's a real market for it. Tahitian's a great neighborhood. There's some beautiful homes, and it will sell. It's a good business, but it's where a lot of builders like to start out. And frankly, it's probably one of the cheapest places to buy land, buildable land, around Central Texas. You've got all your utilities there. There's roads. Again, they're not the best roads, but there is roads. There's water. There's electric, so it's pretty easy to get started. And you have a lot of contractors who maybe worked on a crew. Maybe they were a drywaller or a framer or a foundation, expert, or they may have done cabinets. They may have been a roofer. But they've worked on crews, and they probably worked on houses in Tahitian and saw, hey, this is a great business. Why am I just, getting paid to do a small part as a sub? I can GC this. I can do it myself. And this is oftentimes where they start out. And some of them do really good jobs, but others, again, this is their learning experience, and they screw up pretty badly. And unless you're really working with a knowledgeable local agent like myself, you may get into some pretty tough situations as a buyer. Now, probably the most common issue I see with new builds in Tahitian is foundation issues. And that's a pretty serious issue. The foundation is the base of your structure. If the foundation fails, well, your whole house is going to fail. And we're talking about building on slabs, so it can be pretty expensive, in the order of $30,000, $50,000, even more, to fix something like this. You may say, hey, there's a warranty. Well, in state law, they're supposed to provide, it used to be 10, it's now a 6-year foundation or structural warranty. But guess what? They might just up and disappear. They may no longer be around. They may dissolve their LLC or file for bankruptcy or some other thing and just disappear to another state. This has happened many, many times. So again, working with a local agent like myself who knows all of the different builders and is going to vet them, is going to make sure you get proper inspections in the home, is going to make sure that any issues are going to be resolved, is really critical when you're buying in Tahitian Village. Now, a couple things to look out for if you want to know, hey, am I going to run into structural issues or foundation issues? Well, look at the lot. If it's a flat lot, pretty easy to lay a proper slab on it, well, that's a good start. If it's one of those really hilly lots, now some builders out there know what they're doing, and they're willing to they have the expertise, and they're willing to spend the money generally on an engineered foundation, so it's actually created properly, and then spend the money on the concrete and to pour it properly. You can have a great view on an elevated lot, and there's plenty of those that I've helped buy or sell. But sometimes they're buying a lot like that because it's cheaper. They may have gotten that for $20,000 or $30,000 because no one else wants to buy that unbuildable lot, and they put up a big, retaining wall. They put up a large foundation, and within 6 months, I've seen this happen a couple times already. It's dropping inches, multiple inches. And again, your foundation goes out, well, your framing's going to get misaligned. Your whole house is going to really start falling apart. Your plumbing is going to break. Everything is going to go wrong. So again, start out by looking at the property itself, at the lot. And just make sure you're getting a really good inspection. The other thing to look out for is runoff. So especially on these hilly lots, setting up proper drainage is critical. One of the benefits of buying from a production builder like your David Weekley, your Perry Homes, is that these master plan communities have been engineered from the beginning to have proper drainage. And now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of large communities, including some here, that were built by large developers, and have had serious drainage issues. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss some of these, but they're generally going to be much better designed. Tahitian Village, each builder is kind of doing his own thing. So you're going to see some serious, there's some crazy pictures out there. I have a friend who's actually an engineer who sent me one. They basically kind of dug out of a hillside and are building their home. They put no retaining walls up at all. It goes the other way. They may have an elevated spot. And maybe there's a creek bed to the right and they have no retaining walls. And guess what? The other thing, a lot of these builders, they try and cut corners here and there, or they're just trying to save money. For some reason, they love not including gutters. And again, guess what's going to happen if you have a home that was built on with this clay dirt. It's elevated. There's no proper retaining walls. You have no gutters. Well, you're going to start getting the runoff's going to go everywhere. It's going to create issues around the house. Your landscaping is going to disappear, and you're going to start losing your yard, literally losing it, because it's going to erode. And again, when you have an issue and you call them in 6 months, or there's some serious issues, you're calling them in a couple of years, is that phone number even going to be working? Are they going to be around? Are they going to be reachable? I'm not going to go through any of the individual builders here and talk about them, but if you are looking to buy a new build home, reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss some of the issues I've seen with some of these builders, which ones I found to be really good, which ones have a good history here, and which ones are maybe more questionable than that. Another thing to look out for in Tahitian Village is, of course, floodplains, right? So I work with a lot of these builders, helping them try and buy lots. And if they're trying to buy cheap, well, you're going to end up with one of two things. You're going to end up with that lot that needs a foundation that's 5 feet tall because you got a crazy elevation on the property. Or you're buying real cheap, you're probably going to end up with a lot that's in the floodplain. And some of these people truly have no idea what they're doing. They may not have even realized it. Maybe their agent didn't bother to disclose it to them. But they're building in a floodplain. Now, in order to get permits, they're going to have to, from the county and from Tahitian, they will have to have an elevation certificate. But they'll have to have an elevation certificate, but and they do have to disclose it, and the listing agent will have to put that in the MLS, and there's paperwork that has to be included. But if your agent doesn't take the time to explain to you the implications of that, which include one, you're going to have to buy, if you're in a 100-year floodplain, you're going to have to buy flood insurance, which can be a large expense. And frankly, it's questionable how well they actually built it. So your garage might actually be, they may have kind of vents on the side of the garage in case it floods, which means they're expecting that your garage is going to flood. I've seen this before as well. So I know many people that have ended up buying homes in a floodplain, and they didn't really know about that. So that's one thing to look out for. Speaking of inspections, so if they're building in the county, the county doesn't have a building inspector. The city has one. City has a lot more regulations. One of the reasons builders like to build in the county is because they don't have to deal with those regulations. The city has adopted the International Building Code. County doesn't have anything like that. So again, this is not to say that there aren't great builders out there and you can get a great home and a great deal, but you need to you have to understand it's on you with the help of a really good agent to make sure that the home is really good for you. So, Tahitian and the county do require some basic inspections, but that's an inspector that's hired by the builder. So, take a guess kind of what their motivation is. But again, there's no the only things that the county is really checking on and inspecting themselves are going to be things like septic tank, the driveway permit, and if it's in a floodplain. Counties in Texas really don't have a lot of control over things like this. Tahitian has an architectural control committee, so there's some basic requirements like no manufactured homes. It has to be at least 1,200 square feet. But there's not much that they're doing to ensure that you're getting a quality home. So one thing I would always look out for is make sure that they're offering a really good warranty. And I would be looking for a 1 to 10 warranty. That means 1 year on workmanship. So that's going to be, kind of anything within the house, even if, settlement cracks are generally not covered if you get some basic cracks in the drywall, but things like that, if pretty much covering, end to end. The 2 year is going to be covering your systems like your heating and air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, if there's an issue there. And then 10 years on the structural, so your foundation and the framing itself. Some of the areas I see them really cheap out. See these builders really cheap out on. One thing that really bothers me is almost all of them like to skip gutters. And again, that's going to lead to erosion. You'll probably want to put in gutters yourself. We have this type of soil that we have in Texas, here in Central Texas at least. It's mostly clay here in this area. We have high water tables. We have really, really dry summers with droughts. This is one of the reason, the question everyone has why we don't have basements here. Well, these are some of the factors that contribute to it. But even with a slab, and slabs are engineered to kind of move a little bit and to withstand some of these geological pressures, but having proper drainage so that the water's not all falling and pooling right next to the house is really critical. And if you're not putting in gutters, you're going to have to deal with that. So again, I think structural issues like the slabs is probably the most common problem I see with these new builders in Tahitian Village. The roof, a lot of them will cheap out on the roof, how they go about building and designing it. I've seen a build where the actual framing lumber that they used, they had reused the forms, the like the 2x6s, 2x8s that they had used for a form on the foundation for pouring the concrete. They actually reused for roof trusses. Again, look at the lot. Look at hey, are there some obvious runoff or erosion issues here? Is my lot going to exist in a few years? Am I going to have to spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on landscaping in order to fix this problem that should have been addressed by the builder? And then fit and finish. The order a home is built, you start with the site prep, so leveling it, then you put down the foundation, and then you do the rough framing. You're going to do the roof, the exterior sheathing, the siding, and then you're doing doors and windows, and then you start moving inside. You're going to do things like internal drywall. You're going to do the cabinets. You're going to do the flooring. Well, what oftentimes happens with these builders is that is that they maybe have a line of credit. They may have done a hard money loan. They may have gone through a bank. They may be using family money, or however they do it. They're going to start running out of money as they get to the end. Now there's two issues. One, if you are, certain elements of certain building products, like your sheathing, your framing lumber, they can be exposed to the elements for a certain period of time. But if they're left out and exposed without a roof in place or without siding, it can really start to degrade them. And if these people ran out of money, halfway through, and then maybe they sold it off, or they, finally got some more money and continued, it could be that house is already, trashed, and it's really not salvageable. And I've seen that happen. So, but you'll see, there's a couple homes in particular that stand out to me that were problem homes that I've seen. But you'll see kind of the fit and finish on some of these turns out to be like real garbage. I mean, they're using like the lowest quality flooring, countertops, and they had kind of just figured this out as they go. Let's see what else. One crazy issue I ran into. This guy was a first-time builder, and I was involved in this transaction. Well, I'll explain what happened. But he built what looked like a pretty nice home. I actually went inside, and it was you see inside, and you're like, wow, this is a pretty poorly built home. But the real problem was that this guy, I guess, didn't get a survey initially or didn't pay attention to the lines. He literally built 8 feet over the boundary line into a neighboring property. Now, luckily, I believe this actually came up when the buyer was getting a survey or title found, the issue, and he actually built onto the neighboring property of a client of mine. And this took years to resolve. But I mean, to think of the incompetency of someone who's, they can't even build on their own property. Think about the other areas where they may have cut corners or skipped, important things, or just weren't knowledgeable enough to build properly. Just looking through some of these builders here. So we have 11D Homes, AGP Builder, Base, Burns & Ross, CC, Grand, Chavez Moon, Chesser, Christopher David, Clean Drywall, Deer Trail, Demora, AA, Eduardo's, Edwards, Alicio, Elion, FNN, Ivy, J&M Homes, J Builders, JCI Construction, Jorge Mares, Jose Manuel Ramirez, Jose Perez Gonzalez, Juarez Custom Homes, Concept 8, Lindor, Luna Home Builder, Mondell Homes, New Covenant, On File, Paita, Perez, Pine River, Reyes Art, Custom Homes, Rubin, General Construction, Saul Sandoval, Sea Agent, Terrence & Co., Vic Ray, West Creek, Work Ant. So again, I've interacted and been involved in, transactions with many of these guys. If you're looking to buy a new home in Tahitian Village, reach out to me. I will be open and honest with you about the particular builder. From what I know, I would say go ahead and also just do a quick Google search on these people, on these builders, and like, hey, do they have a website? Do they have any reviews? You can go ahead and oftentimes look up their LLC and see who the owner is, how long they've been in business. But, one thing I will tell you is that just looking at the pictures is really not going to give you a great understanding of the home. So some of them look really beautiful, but, they're really built like crap. Some of them, maybe less fancy, but they can be built really well. And then, of course, there's some that are just great. Price-wise, it's all over the place. We have homes starting at $175, $180 per square foot here, which is how we can really compare apple to apples. Going as high as $322 per square feet, $276 per square feet. On average, when I've run numbers, average price per square foot, it's going to be around, you'll find most of them are going to be between $200 and $220. Average right now is about $220. Now, again, it's not apples to apples on every one of them, because this person may have half of the house in carpet, the other one's using high-end luxury vinyl plank. This one may have the cheapest roof that he can get, and this one's putting in a high quality metal roof with gutters. I generally, in my listings, I generally like to work with the higher quality builders. I want to sell a good product. I want to be proud of what I'm selling. So I can definitely introduce you to the builders that I work with and some of the homes that they have out there. Also be aware of lot location. Again, I work with a lot of these builders when they're building, and aside from building on slopes or building on building in floodplains, are they building right next to the train tracks? Well, the truth is the train doesn't come very often. It's a few times a day at most. But again, be aware of that. Make sure your agent is paying attention to things like that. But that's all I can really think of for now. So again, you're buying a new home in Tahitian Village. Be careful. Watch out. Do your due diligence. Get a really good inspector. I'd love to do another video on inspections as well. Inspectors are great. There's all types of inspectors. Some are pretty lackadaisical. Some are super overzealous. Some will explain to you, what the big issues are. Some think their job is to scare you out of buying a home, which is not necessarily the right approach. Make sure you're working with a good agent. Again, I'm here to help you. I'd love to help anyone. I have all my information in the comments or in the description below. My number is 512-998-1957. Again, Judah Ross with Bastrop Real Estate Group. But I'll tell you, even if you're not going to work with me, work with a local agent. They're going to know Tahitian Village. They're going to know what to look out for. They're close by. I go to all of my clients' home inspections. I'll go on a follow-up walkthrough. I'm going to make sure that all the work is done properly. I can drive by there. I've probably seen the home under construction. Your agents out of Austin are generally just not knowledgeable about how things work here in Bastrop, or they're certainly not going to be very familiar with these builders. If you are a builder yourself, I'd love to work with you as well. I'll give you some great market knowledge on how you can sell your home, how to get the best price, how not to underprice it, how not to overprice it, and then how I go about marketing your home to get you the best possible return. If you have questions about, if you're looking for a great inspector, reach out to me as well. I'm happy to give you some really good recommendations. But please, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. We're at 50 subscribers right now, which is really big for a small content creator like me. I'm excited to get you 100, but I've gotten really good feedback from all of you out there, and I appreciate you watching. If you have questions about Tahitian Village, about Bastrop, about buying a new build home or buying a new build home in Tahitian, please comment below. And of course, feel free to reach out to me directly. Again, I'm Judah Ross with Bastrop Real Estate Group. My number is 512-998-1957. And until next time, thank you for watching, and hope you have a wonderful day.